Hello, beautiful people. It is so wonderful to be here with you live on this Wednesday. It's been a while since I've been live. Not go. We had spring break and, we had taken a small trip to the Keys and everything with my family. Like, we've just been so busy. Our daughter is graduating this year. So it's been a lot of like senior stuff going on and just her getting ready for college and so many things going on there and then just all the things going on with my clients. They're super busy too and they've got so many different things going on in their lives and in their businesses, and that's actually what really prompted me to come live today because I really want to talk about how you are seen in your brand. Okay? I've actually noticed different nuances to things that have come up in my coaching calls with current clients and then kind of reflecting back on some previous clients. Like, there is a common theme here with a lot of the women that I'm working with, and it really has so much to do with exposure, being witnessed, being seen, and how this makes us feel, right? Like, there is a vulnerability factor here. There is this like kind of rawness, and there's intimacy because when we are on this side of the screen, we have no idea what's going on the other side of the screen. When you are at networking events, you have no idea how people are receiving you. And so what I have found is that there is this really prevalent thing where female business owners are so incredible at what they do they are so good at really understanding their craft. They are so good at really connecting with their audience in a way where their posts, what they're creating, what they're sharing, what they're showcasing, like, there are things that absolutely land to really create lead generation and sales funnels and all of these things that I think, being a business owner in this digital age, a lot of us have had to get on board, right? Like, thinking to ourselves, we have to do these things. We have to have a really strong system of emails. I have to build my email list. I have to get it to this particular level. I have to be able to create a really beautiful brand. I have to be able to message about that brand and really showcase the things that I'm offering and the ways that I serve people. And so maybe you do this through a series of hashtags. Maybe it is the SEO, that you're focused on. Maybe you're blogging. Maybe you actually have products. Maybe you have a physical location. Maybe you are somebody who offers services. And so you're really focusing on streamlining your marketing, setting up really strong strategies and systems to keep things constantly in forward motion. And there are different ways that you feel very comfortable doing that. And then there are some ways that you think to yourself, like, nope, not going to do it. And then maybe because you know that it's something that you could do and something that would really support you being the face of your brand, you want to do it. Like, you feel it in your body. Like, I really want to be able to be a speaker at an event. I really want to be able to go live on social media. I really want to be like, I just want to feel really good. I want to feel good. I want to feel good at networking events. And this is what a lot of it is that we really want to feel good. And we do not want to do anything in our business that doesn't feel good. And so I will say that there are certain things that over the years I have figured out I don't like doing at all. And there are certain things that I actually really enjoy doing. And so the things that I don't like doing are emails. I don't like doing emails. And so I don't do emails. And it's not to say that I will never do emails again, but last year there were so many different like shifting, moving parts in my life and in my business that I just really asked myself what lights me up and what doesn't light me up. And then I also have to ask myself, like, if it doesn't light me up, why doesn't it light me up? Is it because of a fear? Is it because of a misalignment? Is it because, like, something in my body constricts when I think about this? And so with that being said, and I do have some notes here. So 8 years ago was the first time I ever, like, maybe 8, 9 years ago was the first time I ever really went live on Facebook, and it felt really overwhelming. I started working at a metaphysical shop and I had totally just I quit I quit my regular job and I decided that I really wanted to go all in on my gifts and selling my gifts, meaning like offering services, readings, coaching, energy work, started teaching classes. Like I was doing all of these different things. But it's like you can wait for people to come in and introduce yourself that way, or you can engage with your audience and you can show up here and they can start getting to know you and start, building a connection. And we're building connections. That's the thing, is that when we are in business, it doesn't matter what kind of business you have. Chances are you're not the CEO of like Walmart or Amazon. So, we're not running like these massive, massive institutions. We are running small to mid-tier businesses, right? Like we are the face of our brands. We are the face of what we sell. We are the connection to the people finding us, because in this world where there are a million different coaches to choose from, a million different service providers, like there are so many different people that offer products and services and have locations and just different things going on in their world. There are so many different things that are being offered, but how you show up in that. So asking yourself, what does it feel like to be seen? Do I feel safe to be seen? Because the first couple of times I did this, I did not feel safe to be seen. And I so wish that I could go back into some weird, archive somewhere and pull up those videos from like 9 years ago and really see what I looked like. Because one of the things that I used to do was I used to actually like pinch myself just to stay like in the zone. You know what I mean? Because if I started getting flustered or I started getting overwhelmed and I started thinking about like how silly I look and how maybe inadequate I am or how I come across without this very strong message, because I haven't been doing this for a very long time, people aren't going to take me seriously and people are going to judge me. But the thing is that I was not confused about what I had to say. I was not confused about what I offer. And I wasn't confused about, what I believe in, what I care about, and how I really love connecting with my audience. I really love being able to show up live and be in service and share and speak and teach and train and, do all of these different things. But I will say that there have been times in my life where now it was like raising the bar. And now it was like I had to show up in a little bit of a different way. And that changes over time too, depending on where you're at in your brand. It's like there's different levels to that visibility, because we can create so much visibility in your world. Like I'm literally doing this for one of my clients right now who went from 23,000 views on her Instagram page to now in 3 weeks is over 50,000 views in her Instagram. Okay, so the exposure is there, the visibility is there. But one of the things that I think she's really feeling like, I don't know about this, I don't know, is being present with an audience. And so I'm seeing this with a lot of women who I really believe are so freaking powerful, have such authority within themselves to talk about their knowledge, their wisdom, their experiences, how they can support you, how they can, grant you this beautiful, amazing transformation that you're looking for, how they have the ability to fulfill some sort of a desire, a want, or a need in your life. And yet, when it comes time to really showing up and being present in the body, and this is what it comes down to, being present in the body while also being able to talk about all of these different things that you can do and that you have expertise or mastery in. And so it's really funny because I actually really love talking. And if you've known me for a little while, then you know I really love talking. I'm a Libra, I'm a manifesting generator. My moon is in the third house in Aries, which is all about, and it's all about communication. So to me, like I have a defined throat. I'm a very, very strong communicator and I love teaching. I love training. I love connecting with my audience. But I also know that there were things that I wanted to hide. I wanted to hide. There were things that I could feel myself wanting to like shrink and constrict in. And I think a lot of that happens like once you have gotten that ball rolling in your business and you You want into those higher levels, right? You're pulling yourself into higher levels and you know that you're meant for those next levels. Or you're just falling back in love with your business again. Maybe something happened previously where you felt kind of like detached from it. But overall, what we want to do is we want to be present in our body. We want to be able to hold the presence of that energy in our body. And that is where I noticed, like, why all of a sudden did I feel like I was kind of shrinking or I wanted to kind of hide. I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to be visible because I've done presentations at psychic fairs. I've been in psychic fairs like and we're talking like 30 readings in 2 days kind of thing while also having like this 45-minute slot of presenting to like, 30 different people. It's not like a large scale audience, but it was definitely a lot of being very exposed, being looked at, being critiqued, being witnessed, being observed, people really taking in a good essence of who you are in that moment. And then you trusting that the right people show up and that the right people understand what you're trying to convey to them. I started out in the restaurant industry. For 19 years, I was serving, I was bartending, I was managing. And so it's interesting because I think sometimes I thought to myself, like, this is why it's so easy for me to go live or to do presentations and stuff. I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified to have more visibility because with more visibility meant more follow through, more commitment, more nailing it, more deliverables, right? Like we're now showing up as the face of our brand and we're saying like we're going to nail it for you. We're going to totally show up and we're going to take care of this. So you're going to be taken care of and you're going to feel great by the time we're done. So I felt like because of all of these years of industry experience within the restaurant world, I was out there taking orders and talking to people and selling things to people, upselling things to people, but they weren't my things. That's the difference, right? Is that like they weren't my things. They were the restaurant's things, If somebody ordered a margarita and it was like they could either have house tequila or they could have Patron, of course I wanted to sell them Patron, right? But I could even reflect back on times that I was like, I felt a little like, ooh, I don't know if I want to upsell this individual. I don't know. Sometimes people would get angry. Sometimes people would be upset that you tried to upsell them. I would be like, no, if I wanted the Patron, I would have told you that I wanted the Patron. And you're like, oh my goodness, like, dude, this is like kind of part of my job, to make sure that you are aware of your options of what you can have. And so, you start to develop these inner egoic barriers to how you are seen. And is it safe to be seen? Am I allowed to say this? Am I allowed to talk about that? And these wounds can go from really like just deep childhood stuff, like maybe you were picked on, maybe you were bullied, maybe you didn't feel very pretty. Maybe there are sister wounds, mother wounds. Maybe there's trauma around speaking up and being too bold or showing up and being, too much of something that you feel like you have to hide, you have to shrink, you have to hold back, you have to conceal in some way this magic that you came to the world to share. And that's where the dichotomy is. It's like, am I allowed to be seen and also be safe? And this is exactly what I'm working with my clients on right now is that it is safe to be seen because you actually want to participate in this. There is something to contribute. It's not just about how you feel, like showing up and being live. It's not just like how you feel about that. It's about the fact that you have a message that is bigger than you and connecting deeper into that message. You have a message. You have a truth. You have something very special that is actually bigger than you. And it can feel really, really, really uncomfortable to acknowledge that, especially if there are self-worth issues or if you feel like you are only valued based on what you can provide for other people. And so, what I've seen as a very common theme within this dynamic is this very hyper independent, very hyper masculine, energetic within the feminine. And she's the women who are struggling to access their feminine, the women who are struggling to feel safe and protected while also being receptive soft, vulnerable, but deep in the wisdom, deep in the truth. Knowing that if somebody doesn't like what you're saying, that actually doesn't mean anything because there's a bunch of people on the internet that have an opinion. And why does their opinion matter to you? So, what I've realized is that there's this very strong masculine component that is not a healthy version of masculinity, right? So, the masculine energy is very good for helping us get things done. The masculine energy is very good for helping us to be strategic and logical and linear and take action to execute the goal, right? To get us there. But that is not what the feminine does at all. The feminine is about being in the body. And so, one of the bigger issues about this is that in our culture, we have been strongly encouraged to completely dissociate from our bodies as women. That there is shame being a woman, that you are inept as a woman, you are weak as a woman, you are less intelligent, are unworthy of being paid what you want to be paid versus what a man wants to be paid. This is not a battle of the sexes. This is about women waking up to the truth. This is about women waking up to their inherent power. This is women waking up to feeling much more comfortable in their sensuality, in the intimacy that they can have within themselves. It's a deeper inner connection through the body's wisdom, through the soul, the heart, everything that is within this vessel, because the vessel is actually incredibly powerful. And when you hold the truth in the vessel, it emanates out of you in a way that cannot be denied. It cannot be compromised. It can't be shot down because it is truth. And there's nothing greater than the truth, right? Like there's nothing more powerful than the truth. But a lot of what happens is like we have this very like intellectual framework of what we think things should be and then how we reflect back in that, right? So you might have a really good idea and you get really excited about it. And you're like, wow, I've just created this whole new service or I've created this whole new package. I've created something. And I really, really, really am very excited to share this with my audience because maybe you do have an audience on social media, right? Like maybe you do have an audience and you know that you have followers, you know that you have eyes on you, you know that there's visibility. But it's a different kind of visibility. It's not just you creating a reel or creating a carousel or creating different posts with different pictures. This is about you showing up and being live, being present in your body. But a lot of what happens is very intellectualized, which is a much more masculine connection to the pathways of how I get things done. And the ideology of, yes, I know my worth. Yes, I know that I can be visible, that I can be looked at, that I can have a conversation with somebody about who I am and what I do. But then in the moment you start sitting down, you start kind of figuring out what you want to say, you start kind of writing it down and like mapping it out and stuff like that in a notebook, you start to feel like a little bit of constriction in your throat, maybe a little tightness in your chest, your shoulders feel heavy, your stomach is doing flips and like dropping. Maybe you get a little sweaty, right? Like your palms start sweating and your heart is just like thumping. And you start thinking to yourself, like, I can't do this. And so you will either push yourself through it or you will distract yourself and be like, no, maybe tomorrow. No, maybe next week. No, maybe another time. Right. And so this is the problem is that it's not like you can't be seen. There are things that are happening in your life you are being seen in all the time, but there's something within you that doesn't want to be seen in this capacity because you can't necessarily hold the capacity of being polarized, right? You maybe fear the judgment. Maybe you feel like you are not good enough. Maybe you feel like you don't know enough. There's like this feeling of, I don't want to be called out. I don't want to be canceled. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to come across incorrectly. I don't want to look stupid. I don't want somebody to challenge me. And so it's actually just reflecting back on a million different experiences of like your upbringing and maybe situations with family members or school, like people that you had in school with you or other coworkers that you've been associated with in other jobs where maybe they undermined you or they didn't like you. And so it made you feel like you had to shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink. But I can tell you right now that it doesn't matter that, we live in this digital age and we can get away with posting and doing carousels and, having these different reels being created. And of course, lest I forget, AI, how much AI can do all of these things for you and streamline all of this for you and stuff like that. But I think, like, in the midst of all of that, unless you're really, like, super, super scaling, and honestly, even if you are super scaling, this still applies across the board. It doesn't matter if you just started your business yesterday or you are a seven-figure queen who has been doing this for a decade, like, this is across the board, but how you show up will be different. The visibility, the connection, the rapport, the building of trust, the building of an audience, the building of a following. And you know what's really crazy too is that, like, I years ago, probably like, I don't know, maybe 3, 4 years ago, I was really not like decades ago, like a few years ago. I remember thinking to myself, like, I wanted to go viral. I wanted to have like this massive social media following. Sometimes you see those accounts that have, 100,000 followers or whatever. I do not have anything even related to that. Those are not my numbers. But I actually, like, I don't care about that. I don't care about having a million followers. I do not care about building an audience of people that just follow me. Okay. I care about building relationships. I care about being seen so that others feel a connection. I care about creating that connection with other people so that if they come across my page, and there are plenty of people that have not liked me, okay? There are plenty of people that had commented on certain things that I did that were downright cruel, okay? Like really just mean. And it's like, why? You know what I mean? But in those moments, I absolutely felt myself shrink. I felt myself feel shame. I felt myself feel embarrassed that there were people that could have such a negative and toxic connotation on who I am without even knowing me. And so this is something that you really have to contemplate within yourself and reflect on within yourself. These individuals don't even know you. So how valuable is their opinion really, unless they are talking about something that you're already insecure about? And that's where we get to start cleaning things up, because there have been people that have said not nice things to me about things that I could care less about. And then there are things that people had commented that definitely stung, that definitely, like, ugh, hit me in a way that really didn't feel good and then made me question, should I show up? Should I do this? Should I be here for this? Maybe I can find another way to give more visibility, to have more visibility on my business and my brand and what I offer and what I do and how I help my clients without actually being present with them. But the truth is that I don't like that doesn't work for me. I actually really like being around people, and then I don't. Like, there's a dichotomy there too. I really love being able to be very present with people and talk about things and, have a really great dialogue and conversation. I love celebration. I love just community. I love a sense of community, but I also really enjoy my solitude, and I really love enjoying like refilling my cup and taking things slow and, just being kind of like in a much more different pace than, the active engagement. I'm present, I'm present, I'm present. There are times that I just kind of want to dip out and I want to take care of myself and I want to hunker down and I'm, baking muffins or cookies and spending time with my family and, just doing our own thing. And so I don't think that you have to be the kind of person that is posting literally everything that you're doing or going live for everything that you're doing and, making sure that everybody is completely up to date on everything that's happening in your world. But I do believe that it's important for you to find a really beautiful, healthy balance for how you can show up and how you can be present and be the face of your brand and showcase your gifts and your magic and what you deliver and what you offer into this world. Like, I think that's a really important thing for us as women. But I also don't think that you have to be doing this every day of the week. You know what I mean? Like, my journey with social media has been very like up and down. I didn't do a ton of live stuff last year because there were a lot of different changes that were happening in my world. And honestly, there were some things that because I was processing so many emotions and so much change and so many different things that were being shifted within my own identity that I literally felt to myself like, I don't want to go live. I don't feel good about going live. I don't feel good about being seen right now because I was not happy with myself. You know what I'm saying? Like there were things about myself that I wasn't happy with. And so I didn't want to be exposed. I didn't want to feel like all eyes were on me. But that was something that I also had to like recognize. It's not just a, oh, no, not today, or no, no, I'm just not called to. Like, I'm a sacral authority in human design. So typically, what happens is when something is a yes for me, my body lights up and it's like, yes, 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 yes. Like doing this live, this was like a full body, holy hell yes, sacral activation for me to show up and talk about this with whoever wants to hear it, whoever needs to hear it, whoever is available for the amount of time that I'm here and wants to understand a little bit more about the importance of visibility and it not just being because of the graphics that you post and reels that you post and like all of these little things that you're posting, but not showing up and being present with your potential clients and your cold to warm audience. People get to know you this way so much better because they can feel your energy. They can feel you coming through. And so there are days where it's like a sacral no for me. Like it doesn't light me up to go live. It lights me up to like read my book or continue writing the book that I'm writing right now. It lights me up to like be in my garden or to be in the kitchen baking bread or something. But it's always about alignment and it's always about what lights me up. And if it's a no, I ask myself, why is it no? And if it's a yes, I ask myself, why is this a yes for you? And the reason is because I really want to be very embodied and intentional with everything that I'm doing in my life and in my business. And so you can look at the different things within your life. Like there is obviously a spectrum. There's a spectrum between your personal life and your business life and who you are in each of these. And I'm sure you play many, many, many roles. And so you have to be able to like take a step back and really look at the roles that you have stepped into. What roles are you playing right now that actually support you to be more present and to do more things that would expose you in this way? And it's not just like it could just be a Facebook Live, especially if you're a digital creator and you really want to start building a bigger audience and create more visibility. Could be going live on Facebook or Instagram or creating like TikTok videos or whatever. But it could also be on a bigger scale. Being asked to collaborate to be a speaker on a summit at a in-person event. It could be a networking event that you've been invited to participate in, and you know there's going to be hundreds and hundreds of people circulating this event that you have an opportunity to like shake hands and rub elbows with, where you get to like be like, "Hi, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is what I offer. I've got this great menu suite. I've got this amazing, special I'm running right now. And like, I would love to help evaluate your needs so that I can see if I'm a really good for working with you and vice versa, blah, 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 blah." But developing the confidence that it takes to have that conversation with somebody in person or on the internet. And I had said it to my coach too before, where, because last year I was like, I just don't want to be seen right now. Like, I'm totally hiding out. I'm totally burrowing. I just wanted to be in a cave, something that would insulate me, right? But what I found was really interesting is because I did, I was in the restaurant industry for 19 years and I did have some other jobs where I was very much in personal sales, you know what I mean? And so it was like I was talking to a person. It wasn't email, it wasn't like the DMs, it wasn't, this digital communication. It was like we are right in each other's face kind of communication. And I loved it. I loved it so much. I loved being able to connect with somebody in person, energetically, really feel them, feel what they need. And then because this is like great because I get to just like look at myself as I'm talking and giving all of these points and hoping that a message is going to land with you. But at the same time, I have absolutely no power over what's happening on the other side of this screen. I have no control over who sees me. I have no control over how you feel about me. I have no control over how you judge me, how you critique me, if you're tearing me down in your mind or if you're building me up. Like I have no idea and I have no control, none whatsoever. And so this is that vulnerability piece of being like, you know what? I am secure enough within myself that I'm going to put myself here. I'm going to say the things that I really want to say. I'm going to release it. I'm going to let it go. It's not mine anymore. It's not mine. I give that to the universe. I give that to the universe. I send so much love through this video to anybody that needs this message, really wanted it, really felt like it was something they were waiting for, felt like they were manifesting it because they didn't understand what the blocks were in their business. They didn't understand how they had invested so much in marketing, how they invested so much in, creating all of these systems and strategies. And yet at the same time, something is not moving the needle in your business. And it is not because the strategy is wrong if the strategy feels aligned. If the marketing feels aligned, if your strategy feels aligned, if you love having a freaking sales funnel, if you love doing reels and all of this shit, like that is great for you. But if the needle is not moving, then I'm going to say that there is a block somewhere. And a lot of the times we think it's money, which it could be. I'm not saying that it's not, but I'm saying a lot of the times when we are not getting the kind of engagement or conversion, or having the kinds of transactions that we feel like we really should be having, it might not be a money block. It might not be this fear of receiving. It could be a fear of being seen. And these can be witch wounds, healer wounds, mother wounds, father wounds, sister wounds. Like so many different kinds of wounds can create this feeling of, I don't want anybody looking at me right now. But I have solutions for that because I've gone through the gauntlet of being seen and not being seen. I have been insecure. I've been overwhelmed. I've been standing on a stage, like ready to hyperventilate, ready to throw up, and somehow I made it through. And after a couple minutes, it was like I just needed to kind of like desensitize myself and connect with the audience and realize like I'm important and I have important things to say. I contribute something very valuable to society. Like I'm here to support and help. I'm here to guide and I'm here to psychically activate and be able to source and forensically investigate certain things so that we can elevate you to the next level. And that's exactly what's happening with my clients right now. So my client who had, 23,000 views going now to 50 plus that 1,000 views, we are developing this inner strength, this inner deeper knowing within herself who has absolutely hit mastery within her business, within her skills and her experience. But now bringing it back into the body where the body knows and the body is comfortable and the body feels safe and regulated and stabilized. And so that is the key word in all of this is stabilizing the energy so that you feel good enough to launch from where you're from. And for that, we've got to kind of get ourselves more anchored and rooted. Start clearing out, start healing, start alchemizing, but really understanding where the fears are about being seen, how people interpret you when you are seen. Is it a fear of polarizing, opinion? Is it a fear of being canceled? Is it a fear of maybe even having family or other people who have been in your life on your Facebook and you not wanting them to see what you're selling, you feeling a little inferior or a little inadequate, not knowing enough, not having enough. Like there's so many different things it could be, but we've got to start kind of peeling those layers off and kind of digging around to find out what's happening, which is where my psychic stuff comes in because I will find it quickly. I will find it very quickly, whether it's doubt, whether it's I'm not good enough, whether it's I'm not pretty enough, whether it's whatever it is, like whatever it is. And then we start rewiring the entire nervous system around that so that you have the confidence that you feel grounded, amped up, and very satisfied, like fulfilled with the fact that you can do this, that you have the ability to do this, and that when you show up in the right energy, things in your business and in your life tend to amplify. And you tend to be incredibly magnetic in a way that you had never really realized that you could be before. And what if you going live a few times a week versus having to churn up so much content, and always thinking about content and emails? What if you went live a few times a week and you can actually like slow that down a little bit more? Because in order to convert people into your world as paid customers or clients, they actually just really need to be exposed to who you are and your energy. And when they connect with that and they're like, wow, I really like this person. I really feel connected to this person. I am totally in alignment with her energy, how she talks, what she's saying, how she makes me feel based on what she's saying. And I don't need to be through a sales funnel and I don't need to have like endless days of marketing created to bring more people into my world, to expose them to what I'm capable of transforming in their lives, right? So there's some questions that you can ask yourself here, which are, where am I the most comfortable being seen in my rawness, right? Like if somebody bumps into you at the supermarket and you've got no makeup on, you've just got your ball cap and stuff like that, are you like you hiding behind the shelves, trying not to be seen by, your neighbor who is also in the supermarket with you? Are you the kind of person that you're like, I don't want my picture taken. I don't look good. And then you're analyzing the shit out of the picture, like, oh my God, look at this and that. Blah, 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 blah. And so, like, I know that we all have an issue with seeing ourselves clearly. We all have an issue of seeing ourselves clearly. We don't see ourselves clearly at all. It can be very difficult to see ourselves clearly. You can describe a friend in her business and what she does. If somebody's like, oh, tell me about so and so, your friend. I know she runs this kind of business. And you're like, you know, and you're all about talking about your friend. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, you own a business too, right? Like, tell me about you and your business. And you're like, "Mhm." Like, I do a thing. And so why would it be so much easier for you to talk about somebody else and what they do versus who you are and what you do? So these are things to just contemplate. Why is it? And let yourself really feel it in your body. Really be honest with yourself because there are elements to this that are completely just like total feminine embodiment stuff. Like we just got to get you back in your body and start building that confidence back. But we also have tricky other little things that can be ancestral wounds, past life wounds, childhood wounds, things in our egoic framework that the shadow identities are trying to protect all of this stuff so that nobody perceives you in a way that is going to hurt you emotionally. But the truth is that if you can handle having some difficult emotions sometimes, you're gonna be fine. So the idea is that we work through this, and I have really incredible strategies of supporting my clients to work through this. So I want to know in the comments, how do you feel about being seen? How do you feel about, like actual visibility on you, eyes on you, not just your Instagram feed, not just your YouTube channel, not just, little things that you're doing, but like actually having eyes on you. How would you feel on a stage talking about what you do to other people? How would you feel being in a networking event and meeting and greeting, a lot of different people throughout a couple of days that could really, really, really amp up your business? How do you feel presenting? How do you feel being on a podcast? How do you feel going live? I want you to really, really feel into these things because these are nuances to our businesses that really do add up over time. And I'm not going to be like, and you could be leaving money on the table. I'm not going to be going to do it like that. I'm going to say that there are many opportunities that can absolutely be missed when we do not own who we are authentically. One thing I had written down was visibility blocks. If you have visibility blocks, they actually highlight the identities that you're protecting. Okay. So we've got to understand the identities that your ego really wants to protect and allow them to calibrate into safety. Once we do that, we start like setting little things up here and there that start giving you the kind of exposure to strengthen your muscle and to feel safer as you're, stepping into more vulnerable areas. But that's how you build a business. Okay. It's like you can have a great email list, you can have a lot of different carousels and, reels and different things and content and blogs and different things that you've put together to really harness a strong audience and following. But I will tell you this right now, there is nothing, 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 nothing more powerful than somebody really being able to connect with your energy, your authentic identity, and how you can help them and how you see them, how you connect with them. And you feeling safe to be seen and witnessed by them also makes them feel a lot more confident and trusting in purchasing something from you. If you don't feel confident in showing up, it's like, why would they feel confident in investing in you? kind of thing, right? Because if you're like, oh, I sell this thing and I'm really happy about it, but don't look at me while I'm talking about it. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. So let's get clear. Let's get to the bottom of these things. Put it in the comments. What are some of the things that you feel like you're really strong with? You can show up and do this. You feel really good about it. You enjoy it. You love it. You know, you've really built a lot of followers or an audience doing this thing. Feels very safe and comfortable for you, right? Let's also talk about the parts that feel like a little wonky, a little uncomfortable. I don't know about this. It kind of gives me constriction in my chest or this flip in my tummy or this tightness in my throat. I want to know all about it. All right. Thank you so much. I love you all. I hope you have a really beautiful day. I hope that you are navigating a lot of these astrological shifts with grace and love and wisdom for yourself because right now we are definitely in a very interesting place where a lot is changing. We've got Uranus making some big moves, Mars is making some big moves, like Venus just made a big move. Like there are so many things that are lining up, and then we have a new moon in Aries next week that is going to be completely and perfectly conjunct to Chiron. And so I will be talking about that. And if anybody has any questions or is curious about coaching packages, I am opening up spots and I'm very excited to do so because I tell you, the work that is happening right now is quite extraordinary and the outcomes are even better. So I love you all. Have a beautiful day. Mwah. Bye for now.